Hey everyone, it's Sunday again and I came with a new video that I felt could be helpful to practice gesture drawing. There are some amazing tutorials out there and there are definitely different approaches to draw the human figure. I just listed some tips that helped me a lot to improve grabbing the gesture and the movement on the paper. The first and most important thing that really changed the game for me was to learn how to draw from the shoulder rather than the wrist. Using only your wrist can result in rigid and stiff lines and very static figures. It's good for drawing details or rendering, but to find the movement of the body, you have to move as well. Try this exercise before, get a big blank paper and start drawing long lines. Pay close attention to keep your wrist steady and move the shoulder only. Then try drawing circles. Don't worry if it's not perfect the first time. Just keep drawing until your hand learns to follow your mind and you slowly create a muscle memory. After this practice, it should be easier to find a gesture line. I always start with the head. Once you have the head, find the first most obvious gesture line and exaggerate. The reason you want to do this is first to create a more dynamic pose that almost moves around the paper. And second is because you most probably lose some extension of this movement when you start drawing the details, so it's better to start off with a bit more. To have an accurate figure, you must remember the right proportions of the human body. It sounds a bit overwhelming, I know, but to make it easier, you could draw a little guide on separate paper and stick it somewhere clearly visible, or have it in the back of your sketchbook so then you can get back to it whenever you need. The proportions I'm talking about are these scary numbers. For instance, the ideal male height is about 8 heads tall, and the pelvis usually lies between the third and the fourth one. Or other useful proportions like from the elbow to the fingertips is the same distance as from the knee to the heel. This is probably something you already know, but forget about the details when you're putting down the main gesture lines. You don't want to get lost in the details of an elbow joint or the shadows around the nose, the hair flying around the head. Rendering those details takes up about 80% of the time of the complete drawing. In the first 20%, you have to put down the most important information you can get about what you see. Once you have the main gesture lines and you start building the structure, simplify the parts of the body to basic shapes. On that separate paper, you can do some exercises of drawing shapes from different angles. And I have a +1 tip that I know it's not particularly for the basics of the gesture drawing, but it's very, very helpful, is to know anatomy. Know about the muscles, the bone structure, to know what is natural on the human form and why. Every bumps and zigzags under the skin. You can simplify these to shapes too, but for that you have to know what you are simplifying. So these were the 5+1 tips that I had on the gesture drawing. I hope it was helpful, and if you have any more tips that work for you, please share it with me, with us in the comment section. I wish you a fun practicing time and I will see you next week.